Hi, good afternoon. I'm really thrilled to welcome Dr. John Soslow from the University of Vanderbilt. And he is part of the Dystrophinopathy Clinical Research Network and one of the lead PIs for this network that is growing and evolving. And so welcome, John, and I'd love to hear your wisdom, your thoughts about this network as it's developed.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to speak with you. I'm really excited, and thank you for doing all this, putting all this together. PPMD obviously has been integral in getting this together, and it's just an amazing effort. So really appreciate the opportunity to work on this. And so, from my standpoint, when I think of where we are in our care of boys with Duchenne and where we need to be in terms of especially our cardiac care, this DCRN is critical. It's probably the most important next step. And the reason for that is we need data. We need to understand what's happening in our patients. We need to understand where they're heading, and then how that sort of progression evolves and changes with the changes in our clinical care, and that can include things like givinostat or gene therapy or any of the other new meds that are coming out, and as well as just the changes that we're doing as cardiologists. So we are doing more and more therapy with things like Entresto and Jardiance and some of those other newer therapies. And I think as we're making those changes, we need to better understand how that's helping and what areas are gaps and what we need to do, and how we can continue to make strides and improve care.
So thank you for that. I think we've asked the question about the heart, whether extending function for a very long time and negatively impacts the heart, or do any of these therapies have a negative effect on the heart? So we're very excited about that question, but also about the idea of going into combination therapies. What sequence, what therapies, what are we going to look for? And obviously, how are we going to convince payers that combination therapies are going to be essential? So I know you all at Vanderbilt have been working on all of this. And so I'd love your thoughts on how do we get to combination therapies? And how can we get there knowing that time is everything, time is muscle?
Yeah, no, I think that is a fantastic question. It's something that we've been really thinking hard about, and I think our best option is some type of platform trial in this situation. And so what that means is that we would have patients on some sort of underlying standard therapy, and then we would have multiple different groups that would be receiving different medications, and we would be able to add to those lists of medications very quickly, and also say, oh, this combination or this particular medication doesn't seem to be changing the course, so let's drop that one and go to another one. So it's kind of like a big clinical trial that's broken down into pieces that allows us to really get at that exact question that you're asking is what meds should they be on, and what combination of meds should they be on to best optimize their heart function. And so if we do it that way, then you have these multiple different groups, and you say, well, this combination of three meds works, now let's add a fourth med, and you can immediately add that fourth med and keep the other group as a control. And so you can very quickly move forward and try to get the best answer for patients, and quickly adjust to what you're doing, and allow that to trickle down into clinical care very quickly. And so it's very similar to what the oncology group does, in that as many people as we can enroll in those trials, we could enroll. And so people would all across the country would be part of that and would allow that to proceed. Now, I don't know if we could start that big that quickly, but it's something that we could work towards and slowly increase the size so that we really make sure everybody is on the cutting edge of therapy and we're moving forward with every patient that we see.
Yeah, I think we've been talking about combination therapies for so many years, and I know that the parents and families and people who've received gene therapy, now that we have an approval and certainly in clinical trials as well, they were asking what's next and how do I get to the next step and the next step to protect what benefit is arrives from a gene therapy. So I think in trying to think through how do we get that accomplished, and maybe even as you talked about platforms and bringing these trials in, because many of the trials that are starting up now in terms of next generation antisense are excluding people who've been in a gene therapy. So this is an area where you could quickly address that and get a cohort of people to combine the antisense with a post gene therapy environment.
That's exactly right. And I think that's a really important point because it may be that antisense on top of gene therapy is even more beneficial. I could certainly see that being the case. And I think the only way to answer that is to really set up a trial like this.
Hopefully we'll dream big in those the next generation antisense therapies will consider some of those rare exons so that everyone could be treated. Because at this moment,
Absolutely.
as you know, they're focused on hotspots. So maybe with the system, I'm hopeful that UPIs could go to those companies and say, time to look into rare exons.
No, I completely agree.
All right. Well, I can't thank you enough for this. I'm really looking forward to the day with it. It's official and first patient in. So Vanderbilt leading this with all of the others is going to be such an exciting opportunity. To be honest, it's something I've dreamed of for a long time. So I can't thank you enough for being part of this.
Oh, absolutely. It's my pleasure. And thank you again for all the support and every effort from PPMD standpoint. It's been amazing. So
We're thrilled. Thanks, John.
have a good one.